For 25 years, search meant one thing: the Google white bar. 10 blue links appearing based on keywords, with results optimized for ads, not for answers.
Why are businesses spending that many billions a year on Google AdWords?
Those who are trying to game the SEO system and trying to get traffic, I think they're definitely going to have a harder time.
In 2022, Aravind Srinivas decided to challenge the Google hegemony in search engine. He built Perplexity AI, not just a new search engine, but a completely new way of thinking about information. A system powered by artificial intelligence. Not to flood you with links or inaccurate answers, but to give you truth. Instant, reliable, verified. It's not a rebranding of Google. It's a revolution against everything it stands for.
But I'm not interested in playing for number 2. I want to play for number 1.
This is the story of a young man from India who, driven by a relentless desire to be at the heart of innovation, built a company valued at over $14 billion in the San Francisco Bay Area. This is the entrepreneurial story of Aravind Srinivas. Aravind Srinivas' story begins in the bustling city of Chennai in 1994. Neither his parents came from an engineering background. His mother worked in the public sector, and his father was a financial accountant, but both held high expectations for their son. Aravind grew up in a household where education wasn't optional, a kind of upbringing where money wasn't the ultimate goal, but rather a deep love for knowledge.
Every time we would go on a bus and pass by the IIT Madras campus, my mom would point to the campus and say, "This is where you're going to study." It's not even like you should study, this is where you're going to study. So that was the expectation.
His mother, who couldn't go to IIT herself, set her heart on her son walking through those gates. This simple yet persistent message shaped a personal mission in Aravind: to become an engineer at IIT, a narrative etched into his mind from a young age. In India, getting into the IITs, the country's most prestigious engineering institutes, is no easy feat. You have to pass the JEE, an exam taken by over 1 million students every year. In 2013, around 1.4 million students appeared for the exam, and Aravind crushed it, ranking in the top 1% and fulfilling his mother's dream by earning a place at IIT Madras. But there was a twist in the tale. While he had been admitted to electrical engineering, his true objective was to take advantage of IIT's policy that allowed students to change departments based on their first semester GPA. His goal was clear: to transfer into computer science, the subject he was truly interested in. One shot, one semester, to make it happen.
And I missed that by 0.01.
Oh man.
I thought that was the end of the world. I was so mad at myself.
He failed by an infinitesimal margin.
But I was disappointed. I didn't get computer science in IIT Madras. My friends who coached, were training together with me for JEE all got into computer science, and for a whole 1 year I was just depressed.
But what felt like a catastrophic failure turned out to be a blessing. Forced off the standard path, he had to carve out his own, driven by a deep love for knowledge. And that unconventional route would prove to be even more powerful.
But that's when I discovered a lot of these online lectures, online competitive programming sites. And because I wasn't talking to anybody else, I was just absorbing myself and learning all these things myself. I started coding a lot.
He didn't give up and set his sights on what truly interested him. He taught himself Python and honed his skills in online competitions. But there was one moment at IIT Madras that would quietly change everything. Aravind wasn't in the computer science department. He hadn't made the cut. Although he was continuing his studies in electrical engineering, that didn't stop him from looking across the fence. There was a course taught by Professor Balaraman Ravindran, a pioneer in AI, specifically machine learning, a name whispered with respect across campus. When he had the chance to choose to follow the class, he didn't hesitate. He signed up for the machine learning class.
Professor at the time, he was like, I don't usually let electrical people take this class, but you guys are not going to do well, but maybe you can prove me wrong. And I ended up topping the class because I knew most of these things before.
From this moment, Aravind became passionate about machine learning, deep learning, and reinforcement learning, driven by a curiosity to understand how machines can learn from information. Even his friends in the computer science department couldn't keep up with him. The countless nights spent studying Python not only made him the top student in his class, but also sparked deep questions he was determined to answer. And when he graduated in 2017 from the Department of Electrical Engineering, he had one clear motivation: to explore the full potential of AI. Just like his decision years earlier to pursue IIT Madras, his family saw only one possible next step for him: MIT, the ultimate goal, the dream they had always envisioned for him.
And I applied only to 2 schools actually, MIT and Berkeley. MIT rejected me. Berkeley admitted me. I remember going to my mom and saying, "Hey, mom, I think I'm going to Berkeley." I was like, "What is Berkeley?" Because nobody in India actually, at least like my mom didn't know what even Berkeley is.
Armed with his degree and a new philosophy, Srinivas moved to California for a PhD in computer science at UC Berkeley. But his motivation wasn't purely academic. It was explicitly entrepreneurial.
But I was still not sure if Berkeley was very entrepreneurship oriented. But I definitely got excited when starting to read about like how people went from an academic background starting companies, and that motivation to do that myself was there.
When Aravind Srinivas arrived at UC Berkeley, he wasn't just another PhD student. He was carrying the weight of a childhood shaped by expectation and the raw hunger of someone who had something to prove. At the time, the University of Berkeley was closely connected with the leading AI labs in the United States, arguably even more so than MIT, which had rejected Aravind's application. While others settled into coursework, Aravind started shipping code fast. Within months, he was splitting time between Berkeley and the most elite AI labs in the world: OpenAI, DeepMind, and Google Brain, all of them based in California. Each lab showed him something powerful, but each left him unsettled. Everyone was building these super smart systems, but no one was thinking about the actual user. In 2021, even before ChatGPT became a global consumer phenomenon, finding answers online meant digging through Google search. Clicks, pop-ups, and 10 blue links optimized for ads rather than real answers. It was here, somewhere between the code and the noise, that the question emerged.
Can you have a conversation with an AI where it feels like you talked to Einstein, where you ask them a hard question, they're like, "I don't know." And then after a week, they did a lot of
disappear
research.
and come back. Yeah.
And they come back and just blow your mind.
The idea is clear. Systems based on SEO do not provide precise answers to specific questions, but just links. At the same time, thanks to his experience in some of the most prestigious AI labs in the US, he came to a crucial realization. Also, large language models were never designed to retrieve factual information. That's because of a phenomenon known as hallucinations. A hallucination occurs when an AI model generates information that is false, fabricated, or non-existent, while presenting it with confidence as if it were true. Indeed, a large language model like ChatGPT is fundamentally a probabilistic predictor. It doesn't possess intrinsic knowledge or a factual database. Instead, it operates by estimating the likelihood of the next word in a sentence, given the preceding context. Trained on massive corpora of text, ranging from books and academic papers to online articles and forums, it learns statistical patterns in language. And then it uses these learned patterns to generate the most probable continuation of a given prompt. Crucially, the model doesn't evaluate the truthfulness of what it generates. It simply outputs what sounds most plausible based on its training data. In that moment of realization, Aravind understood something crucial. Neither traditional SEO-driven search engines, nor even the most advanced AI labs in America had truly addressed this unmet need. The need for precise, reliable, and real-time answers. And from this gap emerges a clear necessity: to redesign search engines from the ground up, to build something capable of replacing the entire Google search system. Perplexity's initial idea didn't start in a lab. It started over a coffee. Aravind was talking to Elad Gil, early investor and advisor. The idea? A visual search engine, one that didn't start with words, but with images, camera pixels, context. Elad listened, but wasn't convinced. He pushed Aravind to rethink distribution, warning that a search engine built only on images could limit adoption by alienating everyday users. And that's where the real conversation began. Aravind kept the core obsession, reinvent search, but ground it in reality. He began bouncing ideas off Dennis Uratz, who was still working at Meta. They start trying, but what held them together wasn't a single idea. It was a shared method, a culture of testing, discarding, and restarting.
And we were bouncing around several different ideas. It's all like a bunch of nonlinear pathways to eventually get to where we are right now.
Most startups begin with a big idea. Perplexity began with hundreds of them. In academia, Aravind had learned one thing above all: try fast, learn faster, move on.
In general, the culture in academia is you have hundreds of ideas and you just need to try them out pretty quickly, run a lot of experiments really quickly and get the results and iterate.
This wasn't just theory. It became the operating system of the company. They tested visual search. They built a Jupyter Copilot. They hacked together text to SQL. None of them stuck. But they moved, every week, every sprint, until one idea finally clicked. Together, they set out to solve a fundamental problem: how to combine the natural language fluency of LLMs with the factual reliability of a search engine. Srinivas and Dennis remembered a fundamental principle of research they learned in academia.
Every sentence you write in a paper should be backed with a citation. We took this principle and asked ourselves, what is the best way to make chatbots accurate? Is force it to only say things that it can find on the internet.
To move on with speed, Aravind knew he couldn't do it alone. So he built a team the same way he built the product. Fast, sharp, focused. Dennis Uratz joined first. He was joined by Johnny Ho, world champion in algorithmic coding.
He was the world #1 at competitive programming. It's like being Magnus Carlsen of programming.
And finally, Andy Konwinski, Databricks co-founder. And finally, in 2022, Perplexity was born. And now, just a quick reminder. Don't miss a single video from our Serial Entrepreneur playlist on Vision Economy. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. The full playlist link is in the first comment. Perplexity, it's not LLM. It's not ChatGPT or Gemini. Perplexity doesn't try to replace those systems. It builds on top of them. It uses the best LLMs in the world, GPT-4, Claude, Mistral, but adds something they don't have. An engine designed to make all the answer factual. Here's how it works. First, you ask a question in the chat. Perplexity then searches the internet in real time, retrieving the most relevant sources. These sources are passed to a large language model which reads, synthesizes, and generates a clear and concise answer. And then, the key step, Perplexity tells you where it got the information. No guessing, just a clean, honest, cited answer. That's the difference between Perplexity and traditional AI tools. And the best part, the engine never stops learning. Because every time you ask something new, it updates. In real time. It's not just smart, it's current. And it's why millions of people and companies are switching.
The future of AI and advertising. Let's bring in Perplexity CEO and co-founder Aravind Srinivas. Perplexity is an AI answer engine backed by Jeff Bezos and Nvidia, just to name a few. Aravind, great to have you with us. Welcome back to the show.
This vision has attracted staggering amounts of capital and attention. In late 2022, Aravind Srinivas wasn't raising money to get rich. He was raising it to rewrite the rules. That fall, Aravind and his co-founders raised their first $3.1 million in a quiet pre-seed round. The first investors in the company didn't invest in a business plan. They invested in the person. In the PhD dropout from Berkeley who wasn't afraid to say, "We didn't want to repackage Google, we wanted to rethink it." The demo didn't just work, it stunned the room. In a world full of AI that sounded right, Perplexity was the first that proved it was right, with sources.
For me, the aha moment was like the New Year Eve, there was like close to 700,000 queries.
That spring, Perplexity raised $25.6 million in its Series A. The buzz turned into headlines, and the valuation, $1 billion. In less than 6 months, a side project had become a unicorn. But Aravind wasn't slowing down. With the AI boom in full swing, Perplexity raised another $73 million in a Series B. This time, the cap table included Nvidia, Jeff Bezos, Databricks, and Toby Lutka from Shopify. They weren't just betting on Perplexity, they were betting against Google. By mid-2025, Perplexity had raised close to $700 million, reached approximately 30 million monthly active users by July 2025, and Perplexity's valuation soared to a value between $14 and $18 billion. With its founder, Aravind Srinivas, recognized by Time magazine as one of the 100 most influential people in the world of AI. Now, Perplexity is evolving, introducing new features that want to enhance the quality of its answers. For example, Aravind introduced the citation-based monetization for publishers. Instead of selling attention, it started rewarding information. For the first time, AI became a partner to the open web. But the real disruption came in 2025. Comet, an AI-native browser, built on Chromium, but designed to challenge the very logic of Chrome. Where Chrome waits for you to navigate, Comet moves with you. Google may have indexed the web, but Perplexity wants to understand it and let you act on it instantly. But for Srinivas, the technology is just the means. The end goal is far more profound. His ultimate vision isn't about artificial intelligence, but human intelligence. He argues that as AI gets better at providing answers, our uniquely human trait, curiosity, the ability to ask the next question, will become even more vital. The goal is to democratize knowledge, to give a student in a developing nation the same access to answers as a Harvard professor. He has a blunt message for the younger generation.
Spend less time doom scrolling on Instagram, spend more time using the AIs.
That's also why Aravind struck a deal with Bharti Airtel, one of India's largest telecom operators. Through this partnership, Airtel is offering 12 months of Perplexity Pro for free to all of its 360 million customers. It's a bold move, not just to scale user growth, but to democratize access to factual AI-powered search in one of the world's most populous and fastest-growing digital markets. The story of Aravind Srinivas comes full circle. It began with the value of knowledge, with a mother's dream that her son could access an elite education. It culminates in a global mission to offer that power, the power of knowledge, to everyone on the planet. He took the dream his mother had for him and is now building the engine to deliver it to billions. If you found Aravind's story as inspiring as we did, hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth founder documentaries. We have plenty more tales of innovators changing the game, and you won't want to miss them in the Serial Entrepreneur series. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.